Hello Internet, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. In this final video, the first 3 on changes to pre-50 dungeons, we're going to go through the last few on the list. I'll put the details up on the screen as we go. This is just going to highlight the changes as opposed to going through all of the dungeon in one go. So we've already looked at Copperbell Mines, which, addendum, is the 3rd dungeon, not the 2nd dungeon of the game, as I said mistakenly in the previous video. Don't know why I'd thought that. Let's take a look at Haukke Manor. There's 2 or 3 things that have changed here, and rather than address the bullet points as they are listed on the page of patch notes, I'm going to actually list them in terms of, well, this is the order you are likely to see the changes happen in the game, which actually is the positioning of certain monsters has been adjusted. As you can see in the footage in the background, in the corridor up to the first boss, there used to be 2 maidens that would patrol that corridor, as well as the pack of enemies in the way on the lead up to the door. It's now only 1 maiden, and it's much further back, but it has been replaced. The second one has been replaced by a new mana sentry that flies back and forth next to the door. So you can't just rush through, because it doesn't get in the way, but that's one of the changes of positioning. And likewise, down in the cellars, I think the positioning of the maidens has changed down there as well. Second thing that you'll notice has changed: after the battle with the Mana Steward and Mana Jester, an object allowing players to walk back to the starting point will now appear. They've added an ethereal flow, which makes sense. It means that we don't need to use return. Content of the battle with Lady Amandine has been adjusted quite dramatically. Actually, they've reworked the fights. No longer do you have to deal with the lanterns around the edge that would flood the arena. Now you've just got a few interesting avoiding mechanics. We've got some ads that appear and do various bits and pieces. So I'm going to let this battle play out with my original commentary for this, so you can see what the difference is. Yeah, the lantern models are still there. Oh. She now teleports and calls in the Mana Sentry straight away. Oh. Okay. Can't stun Void Call. Okie dokie. Yeah, liking that. So she calls in an ad to deal with. I can't stun that. I wasn't even targeting the right mob, so... Can't stun the stone skin either. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. Yes, they've just done a new version of the boss. I've got... Oh, no, I can stun that. Well, interject that. Yeah, okay. What's it going to be? Another handmaiden? No, another Mana Sentry. So you just turn away from it. So that teaches you about the eye mechanic earlier than realistically... But when's... Yeah. I like that. I think this is, again, a nice redesign. And a nice long cast time spell that you can use your interject on, because you'll have that by now. I think that's a successful... Insufficient inventory space. I think that's a really successful redesign of the Amandine fights. Next up, we've got changes to Brayflox's Longstop. One of the dungeons, I think, if not the dungeon that I've done the most in the entire game. Once again, I'm going to go through these bullet points in the order that they actually take effect in the dungeon. The positioning of certain monsters has been adjusted and the map layout has been adjusted. Both of these actually take place in the same area, the large water area. When I was recording stuff before the dungeons were changed, I speculated that it was quite likely that of all the positions of monsters that they might change, that this particular room that you can see in the background would be the one that they changed the positioning of the monsters for, because it was quite easy for people to back into or accidentally pull other packs of mobs. Not only have they removed a chunk of the mobs, but they've actually changed the geography of the area, leaving the right-hand side where you could kind of cut through, which, if you were well geared, was actually the quickest way of doing it. They've cut that off entirely, and they've raised the entire left-hand side so that there's a ledge that you can't drop into that right-hand area. It makes it a much more streamlined experience. They've also changed slightly how the enemies link up in this particular area, but it makes it a more streamlined dungeon, essentially, without going overboard, which I do think they did with the 1,000 Moors of Toto Rack. It's still got a lot of that really cool flavour, and it's actually still a really interesting area, in my opinion, though I do think the little offshoot rooms to the south may as well not be there anymore, because there's nothing in them except enemies. It used to be that there was treasure. There isn't anymore. The content of the battle with Ayatar, assuming that's how you pronounce it, let me know how you pronounce it down in the comments below. I've always pronounced it Ayatar. The dragon, the final boss of the dungeon, has been changed as well. Gone are the pools that the enemy can regenerate health in, which makes sense, because that would probably be quite challenging to program for the duty support system. Like I did with Lady Amandine, I'm going to let the first attempt at the Brayflox Longstop final boss play out for you with my original commentary here. No, the arena isn't the same. They've made it smaller. I keep going to call them fog gates. They've changed Toxic Vomit to AoE Splatter. Oh. They turn into big globby things, which are AoE. Okay. Dragon Breath's still the same. Sign Thaumaturge, you want to get out of that? Yeah, I can't do anything about Saliva's Snap. Oh, there's one there. Oh. Oh, I see. Oh, that's good. And then we have to move. Okay. Like it. Good stuff. So that's getting us players at a low level used to consecutive AoEs. You know, having to watch for and remember the pattern for two. Nice. Very nice. And again, easier to program. Yeah. And you get a good chunk of time in between. You know, it's even enough time for the NPCs to adjust, because they can't heal on the move and stuff. I've got no defensives. That's fine, though. Stone Vigil received more changes than the patch notes actually say, which I found quite interesting. It lists the content of the battle with Haukke, the second boss, having been adjusted, and it lists the difficulty of certain mechanics being eased during the battle with Dzemael, the final boss. Haukke, the second boss, has actually received quite a few changes, as well as a new arena. So I'm actually going to let this fight play out for you, just so that you can see exactly what has been changed with that. Yeah, no changes that I could see. Oh, they've changed its arena. The cannons are gone. Okay. Oh, so that's why I could see them from there. I made note of them. So we've got a Tank Buster, Sonic Storm, Typhoon. Right. I'm guessing that this is going to sweep across the... So they're going to... I thought they were just going to go as a line, but I guess not. Yeah, so they summon a Typhoon like that. Sorry, summon a Sonic Storm. Summon a Typhoon with 4. So you've got to maneuver around those. And this is interesting because they don't have the more obvious orange telegraphing markers. Those two stay around longer. Yeah, it looks like they still go in a straight line. They look like they didn't have much in the way of animation for that. Okay. And the final fight, I'm not going to let play out because realistically, there's only one mechanic that has actually changed. About 2/3 of the way through the fight, when Dzemael takes off for the second time, he pelts the floor with AoEs that create ice puddles on the floor. And he does this one after the other. Now, originally, those puddles would stay there. So you would have to avoid those puddles and deal with the mechanic where he covers a section of the arena in ice. The initial puddles don't stick around anymore, which makes it a much easier fight or final phase of the fight to deal with, to be honest. It's been a long time since I've really seen anybody die to the ice puddles mechanic, but for new players, I guess it could be an issue. So, a decent change for that point in the game. Dzemael Darkhold, the level 44 dungeon. It says the route through the dungeon has been adjusted and the positioning of certain treasure coffers has been changed accordingly. What they've done for this is in the second section of the dungeon, after you've used the ethereal flow, after defeating the evil eye, the section of dungeon where there were the ledges with the toads. This is what I speculated they would do, and they've very much done it. They've left the top almost the same, although they've changed the construction of some of the packs, and they've removed one of the archways, which kind of got in your way and messed the camera up at certain times. But for the most part, they've changed the right-hand side. I'm actually going to let this section of the video play out so you can see it and my commentary in full. But that's the only real change that they've got in Dzemael. And that's it for the pre-50 dungeons. Obviously, they changed Cape Westwind, so it's no longer an instance, and it's now a solo duty. And Castrum and Praetorium have received changes as well. I haven't tried these yet. I might do another video on those if that's something people are interested in. But as somebody who, in the last 2 videos, as I've said, really likes the dungeons in Final Fantasy XIV, I find changes like this really interesting in terms of, well, this is the development of the game. This is how certain outdated things are being updated. And I think that's really healthy for Final Fantasy XIV and for the development team to do. And I do really like the duty support system and what that has brought to the table. Let me know down below your opinions on these changes to the dungeons. And have you guys tried out the duty support system? I imagine most people went straight into MSQ and stuff. I didn't, because I'm odd. But we knew that. Have yourselves a fabulous day, folks. If you enjoyed the video and thought this content was useful, let me know down below, or leave a like, subscribe for more, stay safe, and cheerio. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not click the like button and consider subscribing. Remember, you can ring the bell notification icon to get notified when new videos go live. And until next time, cheerio.